Today, we're taking on a topic that's been hiding in plain sight, the number one threat to the U.S. economy, lurking under our noses all this while, and shockingly, no one's talking about it. Are you curious to find out what this threat is? Stick around because we'll go deep into the nitty-gritty and uncover everything. So grab your popcorn, sit tight, and let's dive into the unknown. Here we go. I'll just go straight for the jugular because not everyone knows this. The number one threat to the U.S. economy is the plan to dethrone the U.S. as a world power.
The world order is changing in important ways that you need to understand. For the last 50 years or so, I've been a global macro investor, and I found that a lot of the things that surprised me in my lifetime surprised me because they never happened before to me in my lifetime, but they happened many times in history.
The world of economics is ever-changing, and one of the hottest topics in recent years has been the impact of a new world order on the U.S. economy. Prominent financial figures like Ray Dalio have weighed in on this hot topic, and their perspectives are pretty interesting. We'll get to that, but before then, let me explain this whole concept of the U.S. as a world power. Put simply, world power is the ability of a nation to influence global affairs and shape the direction of world events. It involves having significant economic, military, and political clout that allows a nation to assert its authority and promote its interests on the global stage. For decades, the United States has been considered the dominant global power. Since the end of World War II, America's military, economic, and diplomatic might has been unmatched, allowing it to maintain its status as the world's most powerful nation. But how long has America been in power, and can that change? The United States' reign as the world's superpower began after World War II when the country emerged as a global force to be reckoned with. Its booming economy, massive military, and global influence allowed the U.S. to shape international affairs and establish itself as the leader of the Western world. From the formation of NATO to the Marshall Plan, the U.S. played a significant role in shaping the post-World War II world order. Fast forward to the present day, and America's position as the world's dominant power remains intact, although new challengers are beginning to emerge. They are looking to create a new world order. What do I mean by this? The term New World Order is the idea that global power structures are shifting away from the dominance of the U.S. and towards the rise of emerging economies like China and India.
India will have probably the greatest growth rate, the fastest growth rate economically, have the greatest transformation. There's this great power conflict and lots of things going on that are great and terrible in both China and the United States. And then there's the countries that are not in that, the neutral countries.
There's no doubt that these countries have been experiencing significant economic growth and development in recent years, and some argue that they are set to take over as the new economic superpowers. China, for example, has been rapidly modernizing its military and economy and is poised to become a significant player on the world stage. Other countries, like Russia and India, are also vying for more influence in global affairs. So can America's position as the dominant world power change? Absolutely. History has shown that no nation can remain at the top forever. The United States' rise to power marked the decline of European colonial empires, and there's no reason to believe that another country couldn't eventually eclipse America's global influence. As it stands, a few countries are coming together to ensure that the plan to dethrone America is set in motion as soon as possible. Let's talk more about this. I don't mean to scare you or cause any anxiety. You just need to have enough knowledge to make educated decisions regarding your finances. Changes like these are what the wealthy thrive upon and grow their wealth. So with a potentially catastrophic change like this, you'll need all the knowledge you can get to make the right decisions. You don't want to miss any part of this video because what is about to come will shake the U.S. economy. So stay tuned. Now, the greatest threat to the U.S. economy is that countries are coming together to form a new world power.
We are in decline. We're declining on a relative basis, but even also some measures in an absolute basis. So that's what the arc is. And then China has been the leading competitor. I've been having, not since 1984, I've been going to China. Watch it, since I started going there, per capita income has increased by 26 times. And so if you use measures of comparability, in military technology, share of world GDP, all of that. You see that. That is the only real power.
As the world is still recovering from the aftermath of the pandemic, the global political and economic landscape is undergoing a seismic shift. The rise of BRICS and the increasing cooperation between Russia and China has led to speculations that these countries are coming together to form a new world power. So let's explore this case. What is BRICS? BRICS is a grouping of 5 emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries lead in their respective regions and account for about 40% of the world's population and 25% of its GDP. Despite their political systems, economic structures, and cultural diversity differences, these countries have taken steps to enhance cooperation and collaboration among themselves. They have shared interests in global governance reforms, climate change, energy security, and trade liberalization. In 2009, the leaders of BRIC, before South Africa joined in 2010, came together in Russia to ally. The group initiated various measures to strengthen their economic ties, such as creating a common market and currency, and promoting greater cooperation in areas like technology, infrastructure, and finance. This alliance aimed to develop an alternative to the traditional Western-dominated global governance system. Now it seems the BRICS group is challenging the US dollar's dominance in global trade and finance, and their growing economy might enable them to do so. For instance, China has emerged as a global economic powerhouse, and its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has provided financial and infrastructural support to more than 70 countries worldwide. Conversely, Russia has been facing diplomatic isolation from the West due to its conflicts with Ukraine, its stance on Syria, and allegations of election meddling in Western countries. But Russia's growing partnership with China, especially economically and militarily, can counterbalance the US's hegemony in the global arena. China's increasing assertiveness on the world stage and Russia's growing isolation have led to closer ties between the two nations. They share a similar worldview, arguing for a multipolar international order which challenges the US's unipolar dominance. Their alliance has led to cooperation in various spheres like defense, technology, trade, and energy. Russia and China have been conducting joint military exercises regularly, and Russia has been supplying China with advanced defense equipment.
Think about the economic consequences of how we're intertwined. 22% of American manufactured goods imports come from China. So just imagine China became like Russia. In other words, you say, I don't want to take imports. So people don't buy their Nikes, they don't buy their Apples, they don't buy things that are produced in China and so on. Do you know what that would mean economically for us in terms of the inflation rate and the consequences because of how they're intertwined?
Additionally, with the increasing tensions between China and the US, Russia has become an essential economic partner for China. However, the BRICS and Russia-China alliance has some challenges and limitations. Firstly, these countries have different political systems and foreign policy objectives. Secondly, they face socioeconomic and developmental challenges like poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment. Moreover, the growing international backlash against China's human rights violations in Xinjiang and Hong Kong and its aggressive South China Sea and Taiwan Strait foreign policy may lead to China's isolation from the international community. The BRICS alliance is shaping the global, political, and economic landscape. Political, economic, and strategic factors influence their growing cooperation. Still, this partnership has limitations and challenges, such as different political systems and developmental challenges. I think how the BRICS alliance will shape the global order in the coming years remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure: the world is no longer just about the West. Please stay with me because I am about to reveal how this alliance threatens the US economy. If you're ready for it, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now back to the topic of the video. What impact would a change of world power have on the US economy? Some argue that it could be detrimental. Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater Associates, has been vocal about his concerns over the shift in global power dynamics. In a recent interview with CNBC, he warned, "The world order that we've had over the last 70 years is changing, and that's a big deal." Dalio explained that the U.S. has benefited from being the dominant world power, but its advantage is slowly slipping away as other countries are starting to rise.
The United States was clearly a dominant power, and we were in the American world order. 1945, the United States became the leading world power, counted for half world GDP. We had 80% of the world's money, because gold was money then, and we had a military monopoly. And so the reason that we were the world's power, that's why the United Nations is in New York, and IMF and World Bank are in Washington. So dominant conflict, this emerging competition. And the last time that happened was the 1930 to 45 period, and I need to study that. And so I studied.
He notes that it's going to mean a reduction in our standard of living, as the U.S. will no longer be able to rely on its global dominance to maintain its economic prosperity. Here's how this change can cause a ripple effect on the U.S. economy if it happens. Firstly, a shift in power to another country or region can lead to the diversification of global currency reserves. For example, as China's economy grows, more countries are converting their dollar reserve holdings into yuan, signaling a potential shift in the global economic landscape. This diversification of currency reserves threatens the US dollar's hegemony, which could significantly decrease demand for the currency, hurt its value, and weaken the US economy. Secondly, a change in world power can lead to political instability and negatively impact the US dollar. Economic sanctions and trade wars exemplify how political tensions can affect the US dollar. For example, in recent years, the U.S. has imposed sanctions on countries such as Iran, Russia, and Venezuela, which led to a decline in the country's demand for U.S. dollars. In turn, the value of the U.S. dollar weakened, causing its purchasing power to diminish. Additionally, a change in world power can cause inflation, harming the U.S. economy. This occurs when too many dollars are circulated worldwide, significantly decreasing the currency's buying power. When inflation occurs, the cost of goods and services will increase, reducing consumer spending and ultimately hurting the U.S. economy. Finally, changing world power can affect the U.S. economy by altering global interest rates. In the past, the U.S. Federal Reserve significantly influenced international interest rates. However, with a shift in global economic powers, this may not be the case anymore, leading to variations in interest rates that could adversely affect the U.S. economy. So, how can you stay prepared against the negative effects of the changing world order? Of course, there's no problem without a solution, so trust that I will not leave you without actionable steps to prepare for this change. In his book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order, Ray Dalio offers Americans advice on how to prepare for the economic impact of the changing world order. Some of his suggestions include the following. Diversify your investments. Dalio suggests diversifying your portfolio with a mix of stocks, bonds, and alternative investments such as gold or real estate. Be mindful of debt. He advises Americans to be careful with debt and avoid taking on too much debt. High levels of debt can make individuals vulnerable during economic downturns. Be open-minded. Dalio encourages people to be open-minded and embrace the changes that come with shifts in the global economy. He advises people to be willing to adapt and learn new skills. Expand your knowledge. Given the increasing advancement of technology and automation, Dalio suggests that Americans should focus on developing skills that cannot be easily automated or outsourced. Of course, not everyone agrees that the New World Order is necessarily a bad thing for the U.S. economy. It could create new opportunities and drive innovation. As emerging economies become more relevant, they may demand new products and services that the U.S. could provide. There's also the possibility that the shift in global power dynamics could be a net positive for the world. As more countries become economically prosperous, there is the potential for greater harmony and cooperation, leading to increased stability and growth. The impact of a new world order on the U.S. economy is complex and multifaceted. Some financial experts have expressed concern over a potential loss of global dominance and economic prosperity, and others see it as a possible opportunity for growth and innovation. Which one do you think it is? Let me know in the comments. There you have it. Now you know the #1 threat to the U.S. economy, and with so much at stake, we must all be aware of our potential risks. But don't panic just yet. Being informed is the first step towards taking control of your financial future. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I have loads of content like this coming your way. So please subscribe and turn on your notification so you don't miss any videos. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.